boys and girls, welcome back to art. Hopefully you listened to the story Katie and the Starry Night and you got to see Vincent van Gogh's painting of A Starry Night. And that actually is a very small painting. It's hanging or was hanging in the Museum of New York and Modern Museum of Art in New York. And I got to see that painting and it was really amazing. It's not as big as you would think it is, but it is one of his most famous paintings or recognizable paintings that you will see. So hopefully you got a chance to listen to that. It was on the link right above this link. So we're now going to do our sky first, and then we're going to come back with our shapes and create our windows in here. So one of the things with Vincent van Gogh is he has strokes in his artwork when he's doing it that looks like lines. So we're going to do a little bit of that today, boys and girls. Now you can make your moon if you want. You can do a full moon if you want, where you make a circle and then you fill it in. Or you can even do the crescent moon. And the way I tell kids to do the crescent moon is draw the letter C first, and then you're going to draw a C in here as well, but not as thick or not as curved as this one. It comes out a little more. But notice I have 2 points at the end. I don't want to make it where it looks like this, because then it looks more like a banana. And we don't want to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw my letter C for crescent moon. And then I'm going to create my points on here and kind of bring in. And the nice thing is if you don't like the shape, you can kind of draw a little bit more. I didn't like the shape of mine. And then I'm going to fill it in. And I don't want to just scribble on it and make it messy. I want to make sure that I'm filling it in nice and neat. And now another thing that we are going to do is we're going to make stars. But I don't want you making the stars where you do the 5-pointed star. If you want to, you can. All I'm going to suggest to you is making circles or dots like this. You can do that if you want, boys and girls. That is your choice. I'm just going to recommend like this. So we're going to go in. So I've created my moon. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to create some stars. Now I don't want too many, and I'm also not going to go boop, 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 boop all over my paper. I'm actually pushing down and creating a dot. So we talked about Vincent van Gogh, and his type of brushstroke is using small lines when he's painting. So we're going to try to mimic a little bit of that with our crayon today. We're not using paint. But if you use marker or crayons, you can do this as well. So what we're going to be doing is using broken lines today, which like this. So kind of to me reminds me of the lines in the road when you're driving, and those are broken lines. They are not, they have the little space between. So we're going to do that to kind of resemble some of our Vincent van Gogh. And so I'm going to make broken lines around my moon, and you can see I'm not doing a circle of just one big circle. They're broken lines, so I don't want to just go and do, and I'm actually going to do another one. And if you want to put some yellow in here, boys and girls, you can do that as well. I'm also going to do those broken lines around my stars so that it kind of gives this appearance that it is the sun and the moon and the stars are glowing. So I'm going to go and do that, and then we're going to come back. All right, boys and girls, so you can see that I've taken my white and I've added broken lines just to kind of make it look like my lights are glowing. I've also grabbed a yellow crayon here. I have multiple colors, but I'm just going to grab a yellow, and I'm also going to go and add some of those broken lines in here with my yellow. You don't have to do this again, boys and girls. This is just some ideas, and I'm just adding some more broken lines just to kind of fill those in and add a little bit of a yellow glow to it, but also having that white in there. So after we're done creating these broken lines and getting our sky in here, we're going to go in and we're going to use shapes. Remember we were talking about how shapes come together in our story last week, and create an image. And so we used shapes like rectangles here with another rectangle on top, or a rectangle here and a triangle on top, or even just a big rectangle. But these images came together to create our cityscape that we're trying to create. And that was one of the things that I put some pictures on there where you could see the difference between a cityscape and a landscape. Cityscape being where it shows the buildings in more urban areas, whereas landscape shows more land and probably rural areas, maybe some man-made items, but a lot of times it has a lot of land, a lot of things of nature. So now we want to create some windows so that we really see our skyline here. So I've grabbed just two little pieces of paper. I've grabbed black and I've grabbed yellow. Can you think why maybe I have these two colors to show my windows on here? Well, if you were thinking that the yellow is to show that if someone had their lights on, if you've ever looked out on San Antonio skyline and seen when people are in the buildings or the lights are on, you can see these glowing squares. Or when the lights are off, you have black squares. So we're going to cut a little bit of both, and we're going to be gluing these onto our buildings today. All right, so again, when we use our scissors, boys and girls, remember that your thumb goes on top and chomp, chomp, chomp. We don't want our thumb underneath and trying to turn our hand like that. That's very uncomfortable. So the nice thing about cutting squares and rectangles is they're really easy to cut. So normally when I have like my square or rectangular paper, I cut one strip up like this, and then I take that strip and I'm able to cut little squares or little rectangles. And I've noticed I'm also not going to cut this entire sheet right now because I don't want to have to cut more than what I'm going to need. So I'm going to cut one row and now another row because I'm only going to cut a few, so then I don't cut more than what I need on my paper, because then I'm wasting my time cutting way too many that are going to go in the trash. So I'm going to take a few windows here, and now I'm just putting a little dot of glue, and I'm going to start adding my windows. Put a space there. I might put a window that's black in there. Maybe somebody went home early that day. I'm going to put some windows over here, but I'm going to glue these windows on. And I'm just using a little bit of glue to start adding these windows on. So I'm going to add a few of these yellow rectangles, and then I'll come back and show you what I've done. You can see now, boys and girls, I have taken some black squares, some yellow squares, and I have glued them on so that they look like windows. Some have lights on, some have lights off, so that I could create my image. Hopefully you guys get this done, and when you do, send me a picture so that I can give you credit for it. Bye, boys and girls.